this film. I had a chance to see it at MIF, and I absolutely loved it. So congratulations.
Oh, thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming to the MIF screening.
So I guess going right back, where did the idea for Sissy first begin for you both?
Well, we were living in Los Angeles. Trump just got inaugurated. We kind of thought it was a good time to come back to Australia, and we were just kind of looking at like the rise, I guess, of self-victimization online, and just kind of just the kind of obviously the growing obsession that we all have with social media, and just I guess seeing the leader of the free world using it as such a tool was very kind of eye-opening. It was very much like anyone can do anything, excuse me, with this device in their pocket, even if it's not truthful or honest. And so we kind of started to basically say, well, let's do something in the horror genre. And I think you always have to ask what terrifies you if you're going to write something in that genre. And for us, it was what we were seeing in the world, and just the
our generation's interactions with social media, our codependency with social media, responding to people like Mel Gibson sort of emerging through the cracks, and us putting her on a pedestal and allowing her to proselytize and take advantage of our most vulnerable communities.
Yeah, and yes, that's basically it. I mean, it's not obviously only about social media, but that definitely was one of the kind of impetuses to come up with the story.
It was interesting that you mentioned Donald Trump there and his use of social media, because I noticed, as someone who has had his reviews going online since MySpace, that when Trump, and the way that Trump used social media, it seemed to give a green light for a lot of bullies online. I suddenly noticed that I was getting a lot more negative comments when I put reviews and interviews up and things like that. Do you think that was a little bit of a catalyst for online bullying, and was that something that you wanted to look at with Sissy as well?
I mean, that's a good point, and it's I love that you just brought up MySpace. Respect. I think it's a chicken or the egg. I think the troll culture existed before Trump, but for sure, Trump opened the floodgates for mass bullying, and trolling is worse than it's ever been today.
And also just this idea of kind of post-truth, that someone can kind of, I guess, rewrite the record books on what they've done to their liking and post about it online that way, and people will believe it. And so it was very much like, what if you had a slasher kind of killer who just was kind of like shirking responsibility for everything that they were doing, and kind of having their fan base support them. And we've got 5 young nieces, or they were younger at the time when we started writing it, and it was just very much kind of looking at who they're lionizing and thinking like, who put these people there? We put those people there. We vote with our wallet online, so to speak, and we give people likes and follows, and it's we very much kind of create these monsters, and so yeah, it was very much looking, not necessarily saying that mental health advocacy is a bad thing, because it's not, and we do believe in it, but you have to be a lot more careful about who you subscribe to and who you prescribe to. And I think what we were seeing with Trump was that on the largest scale possible.
Yeah.
And we just kind of wanted to, take that concept, but kind of, make it just about your kind of regular, everyday mental health influencer.
With that idea then in mind for you, how difficult was it to then sit down and start to develop the characters and the story that we see today in Sissy?
Well, I think for Hannah, jump in here, but like that you know, you've always got to ground it in something that is personal. It's one thing to have this kind of lofty concept, like what we're talking about, but then you've got to actually find a way in. And you know, that's always a human element. Like you should be able to remove the social media aspect in many ways from the film, and it should still work, or it should still work in 20 years, even if the technology changes, because it's ultimately about kind of female friendships and the toxicity of friendships that aren't good for us. And so, you know, I know for Hannah that came from a very personal place. And so I think it was a combination of what we were just talking about with what's going on in the world, and then kind of connecting that into that personal place and finding a way in.
Yeah.
Hannah, did that make it easier, or did that make it more difficult that you were writing from such a personal place?
I think a personal entry point is always the best idea when crafting a story or telling. Yeah, it's personal storytelling. I think translates and transcends cultures, and it wasn't hard because when I was younger, I responded to an incident of bullying in a way that ostracized me further from my group, and it wasn't like what we see in the movie. It wasn't that bad, but my actions kind of stuck with me as I was growing up, and what ended up happening as a result was I ended up becoming like a perfectionist and a people pleaser on such a really toxic level for myself, and I had to undo a lot of that work as an adult. And as I was undoing all of that work, I was noticing that, you know, online with social media, because that was booming at the time, it wasn't just me who was suffering from perfectionism as a way of protecting myself. We were all participating in that behavior online, like presenting the best versions of ourselves and sort of exploring that relationship between our outward-facing presentations and what that's masking was really interesting. And I had to kind of go back to those core memories and start forgiving myself for my 10-year-old reaction to being rejected by my friends. And but it was really cathartic for me.
Difficult. I remember it being like there being a lot of kind of hard conversations that we were having that were drudging up a lot of these old things, and so it really was kind of therapeutic in that sense.
Yeah.
That's good, yeah, because I know for myself, I've tried to write about some really personal things that have happened in my life, and there's some that I just can't write about. Even to today, even though it was like 25, 26 years ago, still can't write about it. So it's good that was a cathartic experience for you to be able to do that.
Well, thanks. I mean, I think I would like to, as an artist, be making art where it is self-exposing. But if we actually continue to expose our deepest, darkest vulnerabilities and operate from a place of truth with the intention of like connecting with people, I think that's the goal, and that's the antithesis of what we're doing online.
Yeah.
So that's the world I want to live in.
Yeah.
Where we're free of shame and we're unburdened by the mistakes that we make. Because if we all had self-love and self-compassion, if we operated from those places, maybe there would be less of these Trump-fueled trolls online, spiking the suicide rates and feeding the beast.
Definitely. Now, bringing it back to when you were writing the screenplay, one of the things that really hit me in the screening that I was at was that there was the right mix of drama, horror, and a little bit of humor thrown in there. People were laughing during this film at the right places, not the wrong places like you sometimes see with horror. How important was that to you both to get a little bit of humor in there, and was that a difficult process mixing those genres all in together?
Yeah, I mean, we've kind of, from the outset with this movie, we really wanted it to be a satire. You can obviously look at the film and go, yes, all of this theoretically could happen, but that was never really the intention. It was always just kind of let's make it, let's make it a biting satire where we don't kind of pull any punches, and let's let the kind of violence speak to, the violence that kind of is felt internally when you have a toxic friendship, or when you have to remove someone from your life, or the violence that we kind of act upon ourselves when we self-loathe, and when we don't like ourselves, and that's caused by comparison anxiety online from using social media and all of that. The violence is kind of is something that we kind of do to ourselves on an everyday basis, but we just kind of wanted to play it literally and kind of go as big as we could and have a laugh at that, because I think if you can laugh, then the kind of Trojan horse of the message has a better chance of getting in, as opposed to it kind of being a straight drama.
And also, like, the only way that we remain on Cecilia's side is if we like her and if we agree with the awful, violent things that she's doing. So it has to come from a place of humor. Like, we have to be laughing while these atrocious things are happening.
Yeah, it's just a shortcut to empathizing with the character. Like, we all like people that make us laugh, or that charm us, or that seem kind of sweet and innocent, and then it's taking the expectations that come along with watching someone like that, and thinking it's one kind of movie, and then pulling the rug out from under people. I think that was always something that we kind of wanted to do, was mash those two types of films together.
But we didn't know if it was going to work. So,
yeah. Well, that's the experiment, I guess.
Yeah. Well, it definitely did, and I guess casting was another important part with this film as well. How did you go about the casting process, especially for Cecilia, because that was a really important role to get the right actress for?
Yes, so we were working with Maura Fay. Marion Jade over at Maura Fay was our brilliant casting director, and we were going through, the short list of Australian actors, and I was obsessed with Aisha D from The Bold Type. Her character is beloved worldwide, and also definitely here in Australia. And so I put her name on the table for another role, and the producing team were like, absolutely, we love her too. And then her and her manager got back to us being like, we absolutely love this script. We want to go for Cecilia. And we had a meeting with her, and Aisha was like, I am Cecilia. And we were like, oh, okay. And she was like, no, like, Cecilia is my girl. Like, you don't understand. And, we really didn't understand. She brought us, so much complexity. She kind of elevated our material, taking it out of that satirical tone and into something a little more nuanced and complex. And we believe that casting Aisha and her performance that she delivered during an incredibly tough, quick shoot is the reason why the film is having some success.
Well, I mean, if you don't empathize with Cecilia, then it doesn't work. So you've got to find someone that can, play both sides of that role. And that's not that easy.
She's able to go there.
Especially when you only have kind of like one or two takes for each scene,
Yeah, she's just a pro. She's a pro, and she's also able to tap into the real dark recesses of her mind. So we were lucky.
Definitely. Well, Hannah Kane, I know we are right out of time, and I don't want to keep you over time. So I guess to finish off, what would you like to say to people out there who haven't had a chance to watch the film yet, but are about to watch it in cinemas?
Well, go see it in cinemas. Even though it's going to be out on Shudder eventually, it's a fun film to watch with people, and even if you do watch it at home, have some friends over, and I just think it's a kind of communal experience type of film where you're going to laugh more, or kind of wince or cover your eyes more when you're with your friends, and have a good time doing that. So
it's more fun to yell at the screen with people you love, right?
Yeah.
So have that experience. Yeah.